What's going on, true believers? Chris Mack coming at you with an action figure that I have been biting at the bit to review. Today we are going over the McFarlane Toys Spawn Universe Deluxe Mega Violator. And this thing is so gorgeous and I had to pick it up. Speaking of, if you guys do want to grab this, first and foremost, please support your local comic shop and see if someone has, traded it in, or if they've ordered it, because it's still relatively new. If not, it is available on Big Bad Toy Store and Dorkside Toys, and you may want to check Target as well, because in my area, whenever something like this comes up, it disappears immediately. So I went to Target's website, saw it there, but it was sold out. I was like, oh no! So I walked away, and about an hour later, just on a whim, I refreshed the page and it showed one for sale. So I had to grab it before it sold out once again. So I'm glad to have it. Let's go around the box. You see Spawn Violator. I'm glad that they still use the old school logo. Another thing I do want to point out here on the front, if you do order it, I've heard a lot of people complain about this, and it happened to me as well, because apparently people don't know how to ship things, is you're gonna get a lot of cracks in the plastic, as you can see here. That pisses me off to no end, but sometimes it's just, shit happens and you can't help it. I like the black here. You come around to the side, you get the window, the Violator, Spawn, McFarlane Toys, come around to the back, and even though this looks kind of cheesy, it just, I don't know, it works because you get the Spawn logo, you get the flames. It reminds me of how in the early 90s comics, how digital art was still kind of a new thing. So that's what this kind of reminds me of. So it works in this context. Come around this way and you get a lovely piece of artwork from McFarlane. This is from Spawn 300, which I need to get a copy of that book. I've only read excerpts and I'm like, damn, I'm so mad I missed out on that. Again, Spawn logo there. Come around to the top. So we just said nothing there but damaged plastic. Come around to the bottom, all the Lego mumbo jumbo, no one cares. But what we do care about is this big Mr. Beefy figure awesome or not? So let's crack this thing open and get a closer look at this new Violator. When I recorded that initial intro video, I took the Violator out of the packaging and his leg snapped off. I don't think I've ever gone from 0 to 5 rage that quick before, but thankfully sat down, woosad, called Target, and they sent me a replacement. So I was very thankful for that. So this new one, the packaging in and of itself is not damaged, and this one, just out of sheer paranoia, I left him under hot water for a good half hour, and now he's nice and bendy. So I was hesitant and reluctant to want to take this one out. I was like, oh, I don't want to take this one out and have the same problem, but he's okay. And you can see once you get him out and moving around like this, absolutely gorgeous piece. So let's get him off the spinner and see everything that this figure has to offer. So I said with my clown review, the Violator is the clown. This is his actual form, and the clown version is kind of the disgusting humanoid version. First appearance was Spawn number 2 from June 1992, I believe. But the backstory on this massive Violator begins when Spawn finally kills Clown in issue 295. Or so he thinks. Because Clown admits that he was the one who murdered his wife, Wanda, in Spawn Resurrection number 1. Now, what do I mean by, allegedly kills the Clown? He returns in Spawn number 300, a more powerful, pissed off, and larger Violator. So make sure to check those books. I'm still trying to find a copy of issue 300 and to no avail. Now, real quick before we get into the accessories, I do want to give a shout out to my buddy Woody, who's with Woodrome Illustrations. He's the one that kind of gives me all these awesome backdrops that I use and little props like this. So if you see him on social media, make sure to hit him up and say that his artwork is awesome, because it is. Now, the only accessory that Violator does come with, just like with all the McFarlane figures, is a stand, which I'm kind of feeling like with the Violator, I kept want to say the McViolator. I don't know. Maybe I'm hungry. I would think you need 2. But still, I love that it has the old school logo here. That's always appreciated, and any type of accessories are always welcomed. Now, as for the paint apps on this bad mama jamma, kind of have to force him into my camera. He's like, I'm not going. I love those red eyes, just gorgeous work, and I've always liked how it sort of has that. I always call it beehive, like you look inside like a bee's hive or whatever. The way that they did the eyes like that. Tusks, the browns, the grays. I mean, look at those scales and the horns and all the bone work on this thing. You could tell that they really put love and care in this thing, but I mean, look at all that attention to detail. That's the type of figures that you want. Now, I will warn, these things, when you're trying to pose him around, are going to stab the crap out of you. I don't know how many times already, just on these tiny little pegs, I have stabbed the crapola out of myself, and I just have to go out, take 5, and just, because after a while, you're like, I'm done. I'm so done. But I mean, look at this stuff. Good stuff here, all the bone work here on the back, the way the light casts on it, the legs. I mean, look at these hands. Delicious. And the same thing with the feet. Ugly, ugly feet, but awesome nonetheless. So yeah, the paint apps overall in this figure are gorgeous. Now, the articulation I'm really impressed with, guys. So check this out. He's a big Mr. Beefy, right? Well, the head, there's not much you can do with the head. You can't really move it. You can kind of spin it like so. That's it. I love that the mouth opens all the way. You can't close it all the way, which is like, damn, no matter how much I tried to warm this sucker up. Speaking of which, please warm him up. He is super tight when you get him out of the packaging. Like I said, I had to put him in a tub of hot water for half an hour just to finally get any type of movement out of this sucker. So yeah, I'm glad that the mouth can do that for different posability. Arms, 360, go up that way so you can get that cool, trying to do this on camera instead of having, just sit here and do it on my free time. But you get the concept that you can get the clawing effect going. I'm not there, guys. There you go. There it is. I was like, wait a minute. Oh, it's because I had the joint in the wrong way. So because he's big, I understand the single jointed elbow, and you don't really see the joint that well. I'm glad that they sort of did a good job of hiding that there. The wrists actually go 360. That's awesome. And the hand goes up and the hand goes down. That's impressive for a big dude. He can spin. He has a diaphragm joint and also here at the waist. So you can get him to go that way. Get him to go that way. Down. Up. You can get his legs out that much. Kick out to the side. He does swivel at the kneecap, which is okay. He has 2 ratchet joints here, so you can kind of get the more crouching look there. But that's just always a welcome. And then just about almost double jointed knee. And that's what I'm saying. For a big guy, I'm glad that they really took the brakes out on this Violator. That's why when my first one snapped, I was heartbroken because he's one of my favorite villains from the Spawn line. So seeing this updated version, I was all about it, and I highly recommend it. Now to illustrate just how big this sucker is, I've put him up against the Mafex Medicon Batman Hush figure alongside the new McFarlane Toys Infinite Frontier Grifter. And as you can see, Grifter's standing about 7 inches tall. The Mafex Batman's around 6.5. So this sucker has to be between 8 and 9 inches tall. I don't like getting the ruler involved and too much work. But he is a giant figure, and I love photographing him just monstering over our heroes and how are they going to tackle this big threat. And it always, just the way that he reacts with the light just always looks beautiful. So no matter what figure you use, if you're doing photography, you're going to have one hell of a good time. And the same, if you're going to put him on a shelf, like I said, just make sure to secure him so he doesn't fall. But if you light him right, he's going to be one terrifying figure on your shelf? Let me know what you think down in the comments. For how bulky and big this guy is, I'm impressed at the range of motion that McFarlane Toys gave him. It just adds to that extra layer of, reusability in photography or playability, what have you. I'm satisfied, especially the attention to detail on the figure himself. Absolutely astounding, all the grays and blacks to add that nastiness to it. That's not to say that there are problems. I will say immediately, guys, that these feet do tend to kind of give out because he's so top heavy. So if you're gonna put him on a shelf, find a way to secure him so he doesn't domino affect your entire collection to the floor. And if you have enjoyed this figure, please first and foremost support your local comic shop and see if anybody has traded him. If not, then you can check out the places we mentioned at the beginning of this review. Speaking of, if you have enjoyed this review, we really would appreciate if you take a moment to hit like, share, and subscribe. Helps the club channel more than you could possibly know. And if you won't mind hitting that fancy little clown bell next to subscribe, that way as we continue to upload content, you guys will get notified. Come to the channel, and we love talking with you and hearing your thoughts and feedback down in the comments below or our social media pages, which I'll make sure to leave the links down in the description. So with all that said, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you all continue to have an absolutely amazing day reading, and happy hunting, true believers.